Breaking right now, Meghan Markle has been compared to Brooklyn Beckham's wife, Nicola Peltz, both women described as, quote, ruthless troublemakers who have ripped weak man children in Prince Harry and Brooklyn Beckham from their families.
Okay, let's get into this because honestly, the parallels are wild. On one side, you've got Meghan Markle, actress, blogger, duchess, podcast queen, and now jam and wine entrepreneur. On the other, Nicola Peltz, heiress, model, actress, fashion brand ambassador, and Brooklyn Beckham's other half.
Liz Jones says this is exactly how they did it. She writes, Harry and Brooklyn's trajectories are eerily similar and proof that privilege is a double-edged sword. Both have been famous since birth. Both have faced ridicule online and in print. Neither will surpass the achievements of their father, one the King of England and the other of English football. For Harry, there came Meghan, the former Suits actress and lifestyle blogger whom he married in 2018. For Brooklyn, there came Nicola Peltz, the billionaire's daughter whom he married in 2022. And in years since, it seems that neither Meghan nor Nicola have taken any prisoners. Both are slightly older than their husbands. Meghan is 43, Nicola 30. Both have been actresses, but are now what are described as influencers. Meghan with her TV shows and merchandise, Nicola with her job as the face of a fashion brand. Both appear to crave attention and have a need to be in control. Let me bring in royal YouTube sensation, according to Taz, to analyze this now. Tash, look, there are definitely comparisons, aren't there? Because certainly what Nicola Peltz has done is isolate Brooklyn Beckham from his family, a family who, by the way, gave him everything he has came via his family. Meghan Markle did a very similar thing with Prince Harry. I guess the one difference, though, is that it's even more shameless what Meghan Markle did, given that Nicola Peltz's family are billionaires in their own right.
Weak men, and I would say with low intellect. I've watched Brooklyn Beckham when he's had a go at many things, many careers. He just, throws something at the wall and hopes it will stick. And I think that he is very similar to Harry in that respect. And it makes them more malleable for women like that to come along and to manipulate them. And yes, I mean, you are definitely seeing a sort of mirror happening, especially when it comes to the woman wanting her own way. So the first thing to do is to isolate the husband, to cut off their friends and their family. I've also read that Brooklyn doesn't speak to as many friends that he used to because Nicola decided that she didn't want him having certain friends. And again, this is exactly what Meghan did. I think it's incredibly sad that Brooklyn didn't go to his father's 50th birthday. And I think it's incredibly sad the way that Harry turned on his family. I think Harry, obviously, at this stage is far, far worse than anything Brooklyn's done. But who knows where that could develop over the next 5 to 10 years. Maybe Brooklyn will do a tell-all book on his family because Nicola convinces him, oh, well, this would be a great thing for you to do to, maybe earn your way. But yes, you're right. Everything that Harry and Brooklyn have is just purely to do with their family name. And they've never earned anything themselves. So they've always just had everything given to them. And Nicola can give Brooklyn everything because because of her father's wealth, is an heir to a billion fortune. So he's following her along like an obedient puppy.
At first glance, they might seem like completely different people operating in completely different worlds. But look a little closer, and the similarities are almost eerie. Both women stepped into families that are global brands in themselves, the British monarchy and the Beckham dynasty. Both quickly became lightning rods for criticism. And both, according to commentators like Liz Jones and YouTubers like According to Taz, are being accused of doing the exact same thing, isolating their men from their families, rebranding themselves as influencers, and stirring up drama everywhere they go. The first major theme here is this idea of weak men being led by stronger, older, more ambitious women.
I know, and it is fascinating, isn't it? Because, of course, Brooklyn Beckham now has walked away from his entire family. So has Prince Harry. What is very interesting, though, is at this point, we haven't had the Brooklyn Beckham Oprah interview moment. He hasn't tried to destroy brand Beckham. And it will obviously be very interesting to see how that plays out. Now, of course, if you were advising Brooklyn Beckham, you would say, keep your mouth shut, because it's a bit like the royal family. And by the way, I'm not a big fan of the Beckhams for a whole load of reasons. However, they are an enduring royal family of show business. And for Brooklyn to turn on them publicly would be very risky, because I'd say the public are already turning on him a little bit over the fact that he wasn't there for his dad's 50th. There were all of these celebrations, and we saw the white suits and we saw all of the big celebrities there, but no Brooklyn. And that's all that mattered to David.
Yeah, it was very sad, especially the fishing trip. And I think there's lots of people out there that have, I think this is again why some people obviously have a lot of sympathy towards what they did in the beginning with Harry, with Meghan. Lots of people come across narcissists in their life, and then to see it playing out. But it's very sad when it's a family member. There's hundreds, thousands of cases, I'm sure, every single day where a son marries a woman or gets a girlfriend, and then this level of manipulation is done, and they isolate them and they turn against their families. And I think people have seen how much Harry's hurt his family, and then you're seeing it again. It does. The Beckhams, some people don't like them. I personally like them. I'm a fan of them. And I think it's really sad how close they are with all of their children. And for whatever this fallout is, the fact that he has refused to go to any of his father's celebrations, but they were in London, and that makes him look terrible. He actually came here, and at each event he was expected but never turned up, and they had about 5 or 6 events across the week. And that's going to be something, much like Harry, he's going to live to regret one day, because I mean, missing his father's 50th, you'll never get that time back.
No, you won't. You absolutely won't. And I think it was a really disgusting thing to do, actually. Do you feel like Nicola Peltz has potentially looked at the way that Meghan has done things?
Well, I'm not sure narcissists take inspiration from other narcissists, but I think that was possibly always going to play out anyway, regardless if Meghan had come on the scene with Harry. But it's clearly obvious that it's socially acceptable. I mean, if you saw a man coming into a woman's life on the stage, say Jack Brooksbank had done to Princess Eugenie what Meghan did to Harry, there would have been a public outpouring of rage and people saying, no, this needs to be stopped. But because it's again a woman manipulating a man, a weak man again, it seems to be socially acceptable. So maybe there's something with Nicola. She felt she could be more brazen about it, perhaps. But yes, she was obviously, that's her genetic makeup. And I don't think Meghan's had much influence, but maybe it's just made her feel a bit bolder.
There was also a shocking lie from Meghan Markle exposed this week, Tash. And in some ways you could say it was, well, exactly. I mean, in some ways you could say that this is quite small, but actually, in my view, this is actually so significant, because do you remember in the Jamie Kern-Lima interview, she talks about this moment where she met Yasmin Bleeth, who was the star of Baywatch in the 90s. And that the way that she spoke to Yasmin Bleeth, who was very impeccably polite to her and asked her all about herself, changed the way that she would deal with celebrities in the future. However, Paula M has done some research and found an interview, a long-forgotten interview from 11 years ago, where Meghan has a completely different version of the Yasmin Bleeth story, a version of the story where Yasmin Bleeth doesn't utter a word to Meghan Markle. So God knows what version is accurate, but I think what it does show is that every single interview involves Meghan recrafting the narrative of her own life.
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Are Meghan Markle and Nicola Peltz simply independent women trying to carve their own paths, unfairly villainized for being ambitious? Or are they calculating figures who thrive on control, leaving destruction in their wake? Depending on which camp you fall into, you either see them as trailblazers or troublemakers. But one thing is undeniable. They both left a massive mark not just on their husbands, but on two of the most famous families in the world.
Wow, Tash. So a pivotal and influential moment in her life. Well, which version is true? Meghan, is the version true from 11 years ago when you were in Suits and you wanted to present Yasmine Bleeth from Baywatch as some sort of bitch who didn't say anything to you? Or is the new Jamie Kern-Lima version correct? I mean, this is truly nuts. And I will say, Tash, while this is a small story, let's just look at the macro. Let's zoom out. If you can't trust what Meghan Markle bloody says about a meeting with Yasmine Bleeth, you certainly can't trust what she has to say about her life within the British royal family.
I mean, she's been given so many nicknames, Dan. Little Miss Forgetful, Princess Pinocchio, which is one of my personal favourites. And again, it's accurate here. She's a pathological liar. She cannot help herself. Every podcast that she's on, anytime she's got a microphone, anytime she's got a story, you know, I saw someone do a tweet the other day and it really sums up Meghan. And they said, if you said you went to Tenerife, she would say that she went to 11 Reef. You know, she just cannot help herself. She's got to have an anecdote, and a story for every person that she speaks to. And you can tell she's just lying. You know, the way that she does the breathy pauses and the giggles. And you're just, honestly, I couldn't do the Jamie Lima. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't handle her sitting there like a nodding dog that you get that sits in the back of the car.
She's so awful. She's so awful.
Like that.
And by the way, Jamie...
What are you doing?
I know, but Jamie Kern-Lima is such a Meghan Markle, okay? Because do you know, Tash, and by the way, I had never heard of the woman, so I came completely new into this. So I listened to the podcast with Meghan and I listened
sorry.
Well, I listened to both, actually. Confessions of a Female Founder version, her own version. And you would think that she had come from nowhere and that there was no desire to be famous and she'd been like a small town local journalist. Well, how shocked was I, Tash, when I do my own research and discover that Jamie Kern-Lima was on the first series of Big Brother in America. She has tried to completely scrub that from the internet. This woman is just a fame whore who has hit the jackpot. And again, I'm like, I'm not criticizing you for going on Big Brother, Jamie Kern-Lima. What I hate is people who are embarrassed about their background. Be proud of it. Embrace where you came from. Just like I embrace my roots in the tabloid media. It's nothing to be ashamed about. But what is embarrassing is when you completely lie about who you really are. And I actually think both of those women, Jamie Kern-Lima and Meghan Markle, want to present a totally different impression to the world. Tash, there was one other amazing moment from the week, though, that I wanted to play you. It was actually Megyn Kelly, because I appeared on her show this week, who pointed this out to me. She's so brilliant.
Love her.
It was the moment when, if you look very closely, and we can watch it now, Tash, Meghan Markle has no tears.
Yeah.
No tears. So she's acting because she knew that Jamie Kern-Lima wanted the tears. And Tash, it got me thinking about one of my all-time favourite Meghan Markle clips. One tear, left eye. So the tears weren't genuine, were they, Tash? And God, she's such a Soho House gal, isn't she? She's such a Soho House gal, and they're a very particular type of gal.
The fake tears, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, she's not wearing makeup. She was wearing that no makeup because it was clearly obvious she did have some makeup on. But it was like, she didn't have mascara on. It makes it easier to fake cry because then you don't have to worry about, you know, your eyeliner and your mascara running. And it's just the way she was furiously rubbing. And it made me think of that moment at the Queen's funeral where Meghan made sure that she had that really low-dipped hat. She made sure that it was tilted up perfectly. She had the stare right at the camera as she lifted a single black glove finger to point at the single solitary tear coming down her face, like the actress that she is. And I just, honestly, anytime she cries, we saw it on the Netflix, the Pose pictures, you can tell she's not really crying. You can just tell. Yeah. An actress, a terrible actress at that. I'm sorry. I don't think much of her acting skills at all. But yes, I thought exactly the same as you. One tear, left eye, go.
Oh, indeed. Oh, indeed. You're not fooling us, Megsy. Now, Tash, someone did an incredible video this week of the As Ever products. Because there's, well, firstly, Tash, can we just set things up as to where they are? with As Ever, right? Because she literally sold her few hundred or few thousand units or whatever. She claims that this business is such a big success because they sold out. I would argue the total opposite. This business is an absolute failure because you actually have a bit of consumer demand, probably more consumer demand than you will ever have in the entire life cycle of this product because of the huge publicity from all over the world, which is undeniable, especially from Netflix. But you don't have any product.
And if history repeats itself, the drama's only just getting started. Who knows? Maybe in 10 years, Brooklyn will be releasing his own spare style memoir, guided by Nicola's encouragement, just like Harry did. Because when you put ruthless ambition and dynasty names together, the fallout is always explosive. Whether you're Team Meghan, Team Nicola, or Team both these guys need to grow a spine, you can't deny that the parallels are uncanny. Weak men, strong wives, fractured families, and headlines that never stop. The Windsor drama and the Beckham drama are two sides of the same coin, and both Meghan and Nicola are right at the center of it.